Hey guys, what is up? It is the Fast Break Report here, bringing you guys another vlog. So, just real quick, my voice has been like shitty the past couple days, okay? Because I'm taking steroids at the moment to get inflammation down, and so my voice is probably going to go in and out throughout the video. I just want to let you guys know that, but I really want to talk about the Portland Trailblazers, because they got the number 3 overall pick in the draft last night. I don't think many people really expected that. And this pretty much means that Scoot Henderson landed right in their lap. The Spurs are obviously going to take Victor Wembanyama. They'd be stupid not to. And the Hornets, I think Brandon Miller is just a better fit for them than anybody else that's on the draft board when they're picking. Drafting Scoot Henderson doesn't seem to make a lot of sense if you're Charlotte. Like, you don't really want to piss off LaMelo Ball. I think he's a pretty good player. I think he has the ability to be a league MVP one day. So, if you're Charlotte, drafting Scoot Henderson doesn't make very much sense at all. So, that means if you're Portland, your number 3 overall pick is incredibly valuable to the right team, because Scoot Henderson is widely regarded as the second best player in this draft. And Scoot Henderson is a guy that I'm going to say could be a cornerstone for the right franchise. And there are 2 teams in particular that come to my mind when I think of Portland potentially trading this pick. But the thing is, Portland doesn't have to. Portland is in a very unique situation in this draft where they win no matter what. And what I mean by that is, if you're Portland, you can do one of 2 things. You can trade the pick, or you can trade Damian Lillard, okay? And being the person that I am, and being around, just knowing how Portland, the Trailblazers operate, okay? I don't think Portland is going to trade Damian Lillard after the season he just had this past year. Being that Damian Lillard is incredibly disgruntled, it seems like he doesn't seem to enjoy the idea of waiting for shit to happen over the next 2 to 3 years. And I can't say I blame him. Damian Lillard, if I'm correct, is 32 years old. And really waiting 2 or 3 years for a player to develop to be his number 2 ends up being, he's 34, 35 at that point. And honestly, if Damian Lillard, God forbid, has a season where he tears an MCL, tears an ACL, needs microfracture surgery, any of this shit, tears an Achilles, okay? If any of this were to happen to Damian Lillard, you're fucked if you're Portland. Like, hate to break it to you, but you're fucked if you're Portland. And because that takes a whole year off of Damian Lillard's ability to play. Like, you've just lost one whole year off that window. So, if you're Portland, you have one of 2 situations. You could trade Damian Lillard, who could easily demand someone's 401k. Okay, like Rudy Gobert demanded out of fucking Minnesota. Okay, like the Utah Jazz traded Rudy Gobert to the Minnesota Timberwolves for their 401k plus some. Damian Lillard is one of those guys. Now, there's not a lot of teams with a lot of cap space to take on Damian Lillard's contract. So with that being said, okay, I really think what's more likely to happen here is Portland trades that pick. And there are 2 players that immediately come to my mind that I think would be an immediate impact help for the Trailblazers. I think it would get them back to the playoffs, and even maybe put them in the championship conversation if they could maybe add a couple more pieces around it. Those 2 guys are Pascal Siakam and Karl-Anthony Towns. Now, I understand Karl-Anthony Towns isn't the epitome of defense, but we've seen what Karl-Anthony Towns can do on his own in Minnesota. If you are the Trailblazers, Karl-Anthony Towns, for the number 3 overall pick straight up, seems like a really good move. And the reason I say that is because obviously you're going to have to renounce your rights to Jeremy Grant and even Cam Reddish most likely. But if you're the Trailblazers, I think you can acquire Karl-Anthony Towns and bring back a guy like Matisse Thybulle. I thought Thybulle played amazing for them in the short amount of time he played. And on top of it, you can get yourself maybe a Jakob Poeltl in free agency or something like that, and let Karl-Anthony Towns play like inside out, so to speak. I think that would be a nice setup for Portland to get back to the playoffs. You get another year under Shaedon Sharpe's belt. You still have Anthony Simons. Like, this is a team that, if they traded that number 3 pick for Karl-Anthony Towns, the screen and roll, screen and pop game between Dame and Cat would be amazing. You have Anthony Simons, who can play off ball. You have Shaedon Sharpe, who will be able to play off ball and catch lobs. And you have Thibault, who's a decent defender. It just, for me, I think about this and I'm like, you know what? That would maybe be a move that would make Damian Lillard happy. You would finally get him a true number 2. And to be fair, at that point, you're kind of making your way back towards like the early or the mid 2000s Portland Trailblazers, or 2008 to 2010 Trailblazers, where you had Brandon Roy, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Damian Lillard on your roster. And like Greg Oden and shit. But it's just the idea, like, you start to look at that again. It's like, okay, well, we got Damian Lillard. Karl-Anthony Towns, I think, has the ability to be a better player than LaMarcus Aldridge was. I think he is a better player than LaMarcus Aldridge was. And then Brandon Roy, unfortunately, we never got to really see. But Shaedon Sharpe shows some promise. Like, I don't know if Shaedon Sharpe will ever be really the crazy, insane shot maker that Brandon Roy was. But it's close enough. Like, I like it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could get behind that. Anthony, like, honestly, it's going to sound crazy, but, like, I think almost the right move for Portland to make next year would be to let Anthony Simons be the 6th man again and let Shaedon Sharpe start. Just to see it. Like, I'd like to see a starting lineup of, like, you know, Damian Lillard, Shaedon Sharpe, maybe Matisse Thybulle, Karl-Anthony Towns, and whoever you can get at center. Or maybe you sign a power forward in free agency. I don't know who. Thomas O'Brien's going to be a free agent. So, like, it would open up a lot of possibilities for Portland on one end of the floor. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would put a team back together that would get you back in the playoffs. Let's put it that way. Now, if you're Minnesota, okay, you get the number 3 draft pick. You get to put Scoot Henderson next to a guy like Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert. The Timberwolves played better without Karl-Anthony Towns this past season anyway. I mean, even in the few amount of games that Karl-Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert played together in, it looked like a clusterfuck, to say the least. So it's just the idea, like, putting Scoot Henderson out there next to Anthony Edwards to have your future backcourt look like that is very, very attractive. And you have Mike Conley over there who can teach Scoot Henderson how to play with Rudy Gobert, and I think that's a major win. So I like it for both teams. You know, like, that's one trade that I think is like the best possible scenario. But that's one trade that I just really, really enjoy. Another trade that I like is Pascal Siakam for the number 3 overall pick. Toronto seems to be tearing it down. It seems like Fred VanVleet's not going to go back. It seems like Gary Trent Jr. is probably going to get a better offer in free agency. They both have player options. I would be astonished if either one of them picked up their player options. But I feel like, okay, OG Anunoby's going to ask for a trade. I mean, the Raptors have been trying to shop OG Anunoby anyway, so it's pretty obvious he doesn't want to be there. Gary Trent Jr. and Fred VanVleet, I think, both know this, that OG doesn't want to be there. And I think Fred VanVleet would like to go to another team. And I think Fred VanVleet can maybe even get more money going someplace else. And Gary Trent Jr. is a guy that somebody's going to pay him. I don't know who, but somebody's going to pay him. Like, somebody's going to pay him more than Toronto can. So that's why I think Toronto would absolutely love to trade the number Pascal Siakam for the number 3 overall pick, because then you could potentially have a future of Scotty Barnes and Scoot Henderson in your backcourt. And I think if you're Toronto, that puts you in a nice position to start rebuilding something. Plus, I don't know. I would think Pascal Siakam would demand more than just the number 3 overall pick, if I'm being honest with you. Like, with Minnesota, you might be able to get away with it because of how much money they're paying Karl-Anthony Towns, and they have, like, no fucking flexibility whatsoever. But like just those two contracts on the roster, Karl-Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert's contracts, gives them zero flexibility. They have no draft picks to offer. So like that trade makes a lot more sense. But like Toronto's probably going to want a future first and like 2 first-round picks plus the number 3 pick for Pascal Siakam, or a future first-round pick plus the number 3 pick for Pascal Siakam. And it makes a little bit of sense why they would ask for that, because they're a team that obviously needs to rebuild, and they're giving you their star player for Scoot Henderson and, you know, whatever they can put together in the future. But those are two guys that I really like for Portland. I really like Pascal Siakam. I really like Karl-Anthony Towns. Yes, the Trailblazers would have to renounce their rights to Jeremy Grant, but I think Karl-Anthony Towns and Pascal Siakam are both upgrades over Jeremy Grant. As good as a player as Jeremy Grant is, rumors are he's going to be demanding more money than he's worth in free agency. So let someone else overpay for him. Let him walk. And, you know, get your haul. Get Damian Lillard, your guy. A second guy, a Karl-Anthony Towns, a Pascal Siakam like that. Or if you can't make that happen before draft day, trade Damian Lillard. Just like if you can't make it happen, find a way to trade Damian Lillard. Right? Trade Damian Lillard for like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 first-round picks. The guy lit the fucking league on fire last year. I'm pretty sure Portland could get an ass ton of draft picks for Damian Lillard, plus a decent player. Okay? Like, Damian Lillard was that good last season. He was the best point guard in the NBA. So, like, either way, Portland comes out of this a winner. And I really like where they're at. I definitely think Portland is like going to move off that pick. There's one of two things is going to happen here, okay? Portland's either going to keep the pick and trade Damian Lillard, okay? Or they're going to trade the pick and get Damian Lillard some help. So that's one of two options. But I think more likely what's going to happen is because Damian Lillard's contract is so big, they're going to try to trade the number 3 overall pick to get Dame some help, because it seems as if like Damian Lillard likes Portland. It seems like Portland likes Damian Lillard. So I feel like they're going to try to find a way to make it work. And I also think they're going to run all this by Damian Lillard at some point. Like, I'm pretty sure if they run the idea by Damian Lillard of like, hey, we're going to try to trade the 3rd overall pick for Karl-Anthony Towns, I'm sure he'd be about it. But I don't know, man. I'm interested in what Trailblazers fans think. Like, would you want Karl-Anthony Towns on your roster? Because I feel like that's the most realistic trade. Because that's a trade that could just happen straight up. Like, that's a trade that you could get away with. Like, hey, I'll give you the number 3 overall pick for Karl-Anthony Towns, because in a way you're both helping each other out. You're giving Damian Lillard another, like, I want to say 1B type player, not a 1A, but like a 1B type player. You're giving him a secondary star, and the Minnesota gets to get off an ass ton of cap space, and they get their point guard of the future. So that's why I think that works so well. And on top of it, Minnesota, like I said, it's not like a major loss for them. Like they're trying to shop Karl-Anthony Towns anyway. So I don't know. Tell me what you guys think about this down below in the comment section below. Like, helps me out. Subscribe if you guys want to see more on the Fast Break Report. And out of this motherfucker. Peace, guys.